Welcome back to the channel, everyone, and if you've never been here before, my name is Bob Martin, the RCSubGuy, and in the background we've got
Logan.
And we are Nautilus Rhydox. We build RC submarines, and this is our standard weekly update video starting today, February the 12th. Going to carry you through the week, let you know what we've got going on. A little bit of review in case you missed last week's update video. Had a few things going on, and we got a few things queued up. Seaview is fully finished, painted, ready for the water. In the background, we've also got our completed 48-inch Nautilus model kit now available for purchase. Logan is working on finishing up his Kilo in the background there. We had an exploding flying sub. I'm continuing work on the torpedoes for that giant 1/6 Seaview, and we got a little German 212 we hope to get on the bench and check out this week. What we're doing right now, and we literally just walked in the shop, unboxing all of the stuff that we got shipped to us over the course of the last 3 days. We have another 72nd scale German 212 model completed that we had sold to a gentleman and delivered at the last SUBFEST. He's sending it back because he wants to trade it in. We're going to unbox it here in a minute, take a look at it, see what we've got to work with. In theory, if things look good, it'll be offered up for sale. So you'll be able to see what that looks like before and after we tweak it, get it ready to go. All right, we just unboxed the box for the 212. And just as a background to this, these were the little 212 starter kits that we manufactured like a year and a half ago, and then we stopped doing. This was the original prototype, and it worked really, really good. We ended up selling it at SUBFEST and just got it back. So we've uncrated it, but we've not opened it up. I'm nervous to see what it looks like after being in the hands of another individual, but let's take a look. All right, moment of truth.
Oh, that's not good.
Oh boy. Well, that sucks. All right, well, let's...
Oh, good. Some standard rings.
Yeah, a lot of extra stuff that he got there. Well, let's
take her out,
pull this out and see what it is we're dealing with. Have you guys ever seen 6 Days and 7 Nights? Harrison Ford finds out that they're on the wrong island and he's very frustrated. Just want one goddamn thing to go right. Seems like the story of our shop here lately. Yeah. Now, the good news is the interior doesn't look like it's been catastrophically flooded. Everything looks nice and clean and tidy. Nothing has been butchered. So we're going to plug it in after we turn the radio on. Make sure we have... Oh, look at that. Brand new batteries in there. 12.2 volts. See what happens. Plug it in. Now where's the remote fob? Okay. Click. Nothing moved. That's not good. Okay, so now we get to diagnose that and see why that didn't turn on. But let's... oh, look at that. It's like wings. It's flapping. That should just be able to get bent down. That's not a big deal. But this is all the pieces and parts of the bow. You know, it's not bad. I'll bet we could glue it back together, provided all the pieces are there. I mean, this isn't going to be a pristine boat, but for a starter boat, you can't get any better. This is the ideal starter sub for somebody. Let's take a few minutes, see if we can figure out why that's not working. And I heard the relay click. There's power going through, but we'll double check and make sure.
Yeah.
and then take a couple of minutes and see if we can glue the nose of this thing back together again. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, so bit of progress here. Turns out the electronic speed controller was not passing receiver voltage through to the receiver. So this was shot, not working so good. That certainly doesn't look good. Thing going on. Oh, that's just on the plastic. I don't know. This was not working at any rate. No voltage to the receiver, but grabbed another electronic speed controller, hooked it up, and everything is working. I've just got to do a Dean's on here, get this hooked up, and it'll go. There's been some binding on the back here. Oh, that's just bent. That's all. I think this is all working perfectly in the back too. So I think from a functional perspective, we are in really good shape. How are things looking over on your side?
Pretty good.
Oh, it's starting to look like a boat again. A little bit of filler and paint, and nobody will even know. Well, what we'll do, we'll pop the nose off, and then maybe do a layer of epoxy on the inside, just to make sure it doesn't come apart. Make it bulletproof. All right. Progress. So I think we got this figured out. I put a new connector on here because it was basically rotten. It had rusted out. I did fix that earlier, but it was just corroded. So I put a proper XT30 on there, and now we've got the back is all set up. We got good control over the X-tail rudders. We've got nice smooth operation of the throttle and forward and reverse. So functionally, everything here is working. Logan is going to be fiberglassing the nose of the boat, and it went together pretty good. What do you think?
It's looking really nice. The only thing I'm really nervous about is it's very fragile right now. So I'm hoping in the process of fiberglassing, I don't end up nudging anything out.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, everything was there, went together, and we're not just going to like resin it. We're going to glass it with fiberglass. Oh, look at that. You're all set in there.
Yep, got mine.
All right. Good stuff. Let's do it. So putting everything back together again, we got new O-rings on here. The previous owner said that he had problems with water getting into the cylinder on a regular basis. Now, there's two things identified immediately right off the bat that were probably the cause of that. One of them, the little knurled nut on the end there, it looks like it was over torqued, and the insert inside broke through the bottom of it and had pulled free, so that the knurled nut body was not putting force on the O-ring seal and probably causing an issue. The other thing was what I just discovered here when I was trying to figure out this whole electrical tape situation that's going on here. This is a nozzle, a nipple for a test hose, but it was just supposed to be capped off. Looks like it would probably cracked, and he tried to fix it using electrical tape, which is not remotely waterproof. So that was likely another major cause of water ingress into the watertight cylinder. Now I'm going to just permanently cap that off because it's not needed, and the antenna hose doubles as your test hose. So I'm just gonna fill that with epoxy on the inside. Then that way it will never be an issue again. Logan's working on that, so probably within the next day we should have this thing set and ready to go. Playing with flying sub again, and I have to say this whole exploded ESC scenario was a big kick in the nuts. Through diagnostics, determined all three servos are shot non-responsive, as was the receiver. They're all completely dead. Now, fortunately, I happen to have another receiver that pairs with the VEX radio. It was what I was planning on using for the little flying sub for Seaview. So now I've got to do something else for that, which is super exciting. But the good news is, I think once we swap the servos out, everything will be working. So just got to swap out 3 servos, solder in the new electronic speed controller, try and make everything fit back in here again. And then we'll be right back where we started like 3 days ago. Well, 4 days ago, 5 days ago. So that's what I'm going to work on right now. All right. The flying sub is back into the condition that it was in the middle of last week. So I only lost like, 3/4 of a week to that debacle. This is it, all in place. Now, I think, if I'm not mistaken, these can just be loosened off, the set screws in the back, and then the box should still be able to be removed without having to take the styrofoam out. If not, it's super simple. It's just press fit. But still, we're ready to go. So I'm just waiting for some glue to dry, because when I retested the watertight integrity, I love how that lid just drops down. That's awesome. When I tested the watertight integrity, there was, and I lost it, a bellows seal that had a pinhole in it. Yeah, here it goes. Logan found it. I don't know how. This is brand new, but right in the middle there was leaking, so I had to replace that. But in theory, tomorrow, back into the water, we'll see what else we can blow up. Your stuff in foam.
Yep.
How's that going for you?
Not bad. It was a bit of a pain because I was trying to find a way to get them all in without interfering with the linkages. You can see the linkages are a little long and bendy, so anything in the way would pretty easily bend them further out of shape, which would kind of destroy the boat. Yeah,
we've still actually got maybe up in here that we could do. We might want to think about replacing these and making like bigger pieces that go up higher, because we need a lot of foam, a lot of flotation back there. I think the reason that it sunk like a rock was because you said that ballast valve was leaking, right?
At the time it was.
Yeah, you fixed it. But so basically, when you dumped it in there and when it was sinking, when you were holding it, it was in submerged trim. So there was no air in the ballast tank, which is why it was trying so hard to sink. We're getting it figured. And then the other thing we're working on right now, Battle Boat 2.0. So if you guys follow my channel, which you should be doing, you'll have seen these awesome little battle boats that we did a little while ago. Jason and Logan and me and JJ brought out to the pool, and we had a little battle. This is version 2.0. So everything we learned, we are redoing. So we're painting the hull right now. We got all the guts and gizmos to build it out. I think this version is going to be pretty darn kick-ass. Honestly, I'm excited. Logan's out here putting the color on. The hulls are gray, and then we got a blue one and a red one that we're going to be making. So get some color on those and let them dry overnight, and then tomorrow we can start putting things together. So we're back outside. I know I said I was going to wait till tomorrow, but I checked the glue. It's dry. There's no reason to wait other than my hesitation of watching another model explode in the water. But we're going to throw it in now, see what it does, see how it floats, and take it from there. Let's throw it in the water. So I did move the foam back just a little bit. Still heavy on that side. All right, let's see what it does. It's just a little bit though. Just to put a little weight on that side, it might be up in the front corner. over there. Actually, you know what? Let's do that real quick. There we go. That looks better. Let's see what happens. Sucks air. Did you hear it? Sucking air?
I can see it on this.
And I got no throttle. So, just about done with this. Everything is working. We got rudders, we've got our pitch control. That's all working properly. When I power off the unit and power it back on, I can hear the ESC cycle. It has like a little beep thing that it goes through, but we got nothing. Nothing. I should know better than to finish the day testing something, because it always goes wrong. It puts me in a pissy mood for the rest of the night. But throw it back on the bench and worry about it tomorrow. It's a beautiful new day here at the dry docks. The sun is streaming in through the windows, making it nice and bright in our little cave here. I want to take a second and just recoup where we ended up at the end of the day yesterday, because there were some things that happened and can't remember if I actually talked about them or not. The flying sub was actually perfectly trimmed, I think. It worked for, I don't know, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, and then the motors stopped working. Of course they did. I got to try and diagnose this whole situation and find out why the output's not working. The ESC is still passing power through to the receiver. Everything is fine in that regard. It's got all of the servo outputs are working, lights are working. So again, I don't know why it started fine and ended up not fine. I'm worried now that there's something in this boat that's messing up ESCs. I mean, I don't know what that could possibly be. I mean, I wasn't even goosing the throttle, when it cut out. I had it maybe a third or something like that. There's only 11 volts going through the system, so it's not overcharged. The pumps are probably only drawing maximum at that speed, maybe like 1.5 amps, 2 amps or something like that. So I don't know. There's weirdness going on. Oh, that's kind of cool. Got the sun shining. Oh. So Logan's job this morning is to finish up the 2-on-2 bow. How does it look? How did it turn out?
Pretty good. Looks like a little bit leaked out. Actually, you can see that the little stubby is still here. A little bit of resin leaked out, but honestly, it's not nearly as bad as I was expecting.
Yeah, if we just sand that lightly with some fine sandpaper, that might be a little coarse.
Well, I'm doing this for the top because we've got fragments of anvil on top of it. So
okay, yeah.
I don't know if 220 is going to be enough to get rid of it.
Yeah, but we'll sand it, prime it, see what we got to work with. But it looks really, really good. And I did, by the way, talk to previous owner, and we came to a deal. So that's now a dry docks boat. We'll get it all cleaned up and get it listed. Somebody will be a proud new owner. And then your kilo, you secured that foam in the stern, right?
Yep.
What about in the sides? Did you get that locked down too?
I did not lock this down the sides. We did this like right before we left yesterday, so I didn't have a chance to.
Okay, so yeah, maybe we do that first, and that way the silicone will cure. We can dunk that thing in the.
I'm just gonna take this out before I forgot. I put this in just to
lock
get the linkages out of the way.
Yeah. So we'll get that done. Logan's got a couple of divers to get painted, but that's not a high priority. That needs to be done in the next 2 months. But I know he loves doing it, so we'll keep that in the background. And then the rest of the day is battle boats. I don't know if it'll take the rest of the day because these actually go together really, really easily. The first ones will probably take us a little bit of time, but I think once we get in like manufacturing mode, it should be pretty cool. So that's how we are going to start out our Tuesday. We'll get to work and see what we can make happen. Look at that sunshine streaming down on me, making weird shadows on my face. I want to talk about a little shipment that I just got in. Now, you guys obviously have been following the flying sub build, and you know that those output shafts, they've got some flex to them. So we talked about this at the last Dive Tribe meeting, and Ed Tortle brought up the fact that you can actually use stainless steel as opposed to brass, and that's what this is. I just got my shipment in from Amazon. It was like $20 for all of that. Whoa, almost got you. Which is infinitely cheaper than the brass. Obviously a lot more rigid, but you can still use Z-benders on the ends of these and create your Z-bend. You can still bend them with pliers. They're just a lot more resistant to flex than the brass is. And apparently Bob Gato at Dive Tribe said that you can also solder this if you use silver solder. I've not done that yet. I haven't had the opportunity to need to. But if you don't want to solder, you can also obviously rough it up and use adhesives to glue things onto the end as well. So I am probably going to be swapping out the linkages for the flying sub for stainless steel, just so we get a little bit more rigidity in those linkages. I'll show you what that ends up looking like. But two things I just wanted to point out: the stainless steel option for linkage rods. And again, it was $20 for that whole big container of stainless steel rod. This is 16th inch diameter. The other thing I wanted to point out is all of this information is brought to you only because of the Nautilus Dry Docks Dive Tribe. And if you are not a member, you are missing out. I just launched 2 different membership levels. For some people, $50 for a whole year is too much to invest. I don't agree with that. I think there's way more value than $50 worth. But I did launch sort of an entry-level membership at $10 a year. That'll give you access to our Dive Tribe gatherings, which is where we talked about all of this cool stuff. Every 2 weeks, you can come in, you can choose to participate, you can just choose to watch. If you don't have video capabilities, you can just call in with your phone and listen. So there's no excuse for you to be missing out on all of this kind of information. Hope you join us. It's every second Saturday, 3 p.m. Central. So man, it felt like we were working hard all day, but then I took a look kind of back on what we were doing, and it was all mostly errands. We had a bunch of running around to do. We had to go to storage, had to drop a bunch of parcels off. And then by the time we got to working, there's only like an hour or 2 left. But we made some progress on the battle boats. Hopefully tomorrow we'll get one or both ready, going. We'll have to see. I got to work out the entire electrical system for it. So we'll see how that ends up going. Now I'm going to go back in and work through all the emails that I got during the day, and hopefully tomorrow will feel a little bit more productive.
Bringing Kilo out. It's been a little bit since we've kind of taken a look at it. We've got a decent bit of foam. It's under the water line. However, there's just no room to add foam. If you actually look through some of the side holes, you can basically see the cylinder is pressed right up against the sides, so not a lot of room to add much to this. So hoping what we added is enough. If it is, we can actually move on to cosmetics and the air hose.
It's floating.
Yeah. Really wants to lean to one side.
Yeah, that's actually, I wonder why that is.
Is it just...
Those weights didn't come out, did they?
They shouldn't have.
That's actually, it looks like maybe the correct amount of buoyancy.
Yeah, if I'm forcing it to stay upright, it's a pretty good spot. If anything, we can probably add a little bit of weight to the front.
Well, we're going to need to,
right here.
Probably in the bow, we'll have to add weight low and foam high.
which is good because the front is the
lift it all the way out and make sure that the ballast tank, because I think the ballast tank's partially full because it rolled off to the side. So keep it upright now. Oh yeah, look how high that she's sitting up in the water. So we can probably safely put some weight in the bow low.
We can add quite a bit, considering I'd have to go down to about here.
Well, Kilo's got a lot of freeboard, actually.
Like here's them?
About there, yeah.
I mean, I'm actually having to push down quite a bit to get it down that low. It's probably going down like 3 millimeters or so. So.
Well, why don't you put it up on the counter, out here, and then grab your weight, and we'll stick some weights in there.
I already got the elastic band on it and everything, so it should be nice and easy.
Back in the water with some weight in the bow.
Well, it's definitely more stable, but still listing. Actually, I think we could probably add a little bit more. Feels like it's still pretty high.
You probably could. Here, I'll grab another set of weights. More forward, because it'll go in the bow. Yeah, it's a little too much.
Still floating though, so we can probably remove like
maybe just try another 3 or something.
Yeah, nice things to just have a 7 so I can work this off. I think I'm gonna try 4. No, still a bit much. Swap for the 3.
Again, now pull it all the way up out of the water because it's been rolling left and right, so the ballast tank probably took some water in. There we go. That looks right to me. So now put that in the elastic band on the bottom and see what it does.
Slightly.
So those weights are, I think, like a little off center on the bottom, which is probably part of the problem.
And then it's the foam. So once we adjust the foam and the weights, it should be stable.
Yeah, we can. It looks like we can move those side foam slats up a little bit. So we'll bring it back in, lift up the foam, put the weights in, throw it back in the water. But that's looking good. I have done work on the battle boats, but there were some issues with the parts that I was sent, in that the gland here was too small to accept these cables. They worked well for the waterproof connectors, but not for the main power cables that go through. But what I did manage to accomplish, got all the electronic modules mounted, got everything tested. What's super cool about this, if it works, once we get it all wired up, is the pump that you're shooting your enemies with will work fine until your boat gets sunk. And then there's sensors in here that contact the water, and that shuts the power off to the pump module and then turns on these 2 red lights on the top. So yeah, it's going to be pretty cool, pretty slick. I'm looking forward to getting this thing in the water, but we're waiting on props, which should be here today, and glands, which should be here tomorrow. Here's a little thing that we always end up having to deal with here. So this was sent back because not the owner, but the person that he contracted with to do a build-up for him said that these shafts were misaligned. I mean, I don't know if he had, a protractor out and calipers, but that's not critical. What's critical is the interface between the main drive gear and the gears for the individual shafts. And those are absolutely and utterly perfect. Like, you can see that right there. I don't think he actually plugged it in or tried it or anything, but it's working perfectly. So yeah, that was, 15 minutes, 20 minutes of my day spent for nothing. And probably, 40, $50 shipping that nobody needed to pay, plus transit time. So Yay. So I feel a little bad for all you guys up in the northeast of the United States because you're going through that snowstorm, but not to rub your nose in it, but it is beautiful and sunny here. It's in like the high 60s. We're out trimming a submarine. But life just doesn't get any better than this.
Yep, just gotta finish clamping the top of Kilo down here, and then we can do a function test in here and then a full test over there. That's the always a fun little guessing game to play. It's like, where did my demolition switch? It's right there. Yeah.
That looks like good trim.
That doesn't look healthy.
A little glitchy, eh?
Yeah.
You venting that tank. Let's see what the submerged trim looks like.
Well, what I find concerning is that it looks like it's actually managed to sink quite a bit on its own over the course of a week.
A little bit.
Calm down.
Well, you know, we'll check it. It's just manually. Okay. So we need to get a whole bunch of foam up in the nose. I'm gonna grab a rubber band and some foam.
Yep.
Feel bad because looks like thought he was gonna have to be out cruising the pool, but got to get submerged trim and surface trim. You gonna be able to fit all that foam in there?
I can try.
Think you can fit that foam in the sail?
The toughest part of the sail, especially if I cut it into strips.
Yeah, so in the back of the sail.
Back of the sail and all over the bow.
All over the bow, yeah. It's all empty, I guess, right? In the bow. Well, that's the right trim, though. That's like perfect. We just got to figure out how to get it in the boat. Okay, I am back on Flying Sub again, trying to figure this out. So last time we had it out, it ran fine for 10 seconds. And then the electronic speed controller stopped working. So into diagnostic mode yet again. First off, I want to make sure that the pumps aren't seized. So I'm just going to hook them up directly to 12-volt battery and make sure they run. And they do. Sound nice and smooth, no problem. Now, what I've done is I've hooked up this ammeter. You've seen me use this before. It's called a Watts Up. And I am going to see what sort of amp draw these motors run. Now, I don't think this is the issue because the electronic switch has a built-in 15 amp fuse, which has been fine this whole time. It's not ever popped. So I am going to be running the current through and we'll check and see what these things draw. Now, obviously they're not in the water. They're going to draw more in the water, but I just want to make sure it's not anything weird like 8 amps dry and free. So let's see what that looks like. 5.5 amps. That feels like a lot. So it was pulling like almost 6 amps dry. And that feels like a lot to me. So I'm interested to see what this is going to be drawing water through it. So I'm going to fire up the pumps and it's going to spray on me, I'm sure. $15 amps. This wire's hot.
I think we found our problem.
Wow.
And it's not even like full force. Only one of those was like spraying like air half the time. The other one was actually fully submerged.
So I think we have a bit of a solved mystery. Each of those two bilge pumps, impellers, motors, are drawing something like 30 amps, which means potentially there's 60 amps running through the system. Now, I don't know why the switch isn't cutting out. It's not warm or anything like that, so it seems to be okay. But something actually ended up just happening too, and the impeller exploded in the one. The other one blew a lot of water out, probably because the impeller wasn't smashed. I could see maybe if this one was jammed, right, and it was pulling all kinds of amps, but both of them are that way and the other one's not. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe there's 6-volt pumps and it was being run at 12 volts, but I mean, he was running them at 14 volts before. So it looks like this was not an issue with my box. It was not an issue with the speed controllers, although this speed controller is now fried. So I got to put another speed controller in it. It seems to be an issue with the motors. We can pull them out, take a look, but potentially we're looking at putting in brand new motors as well. So I think I may need to reach out to the owner and find out what the plan is for this, because the amount of labor that I've got into this boat is like increasing exponentially. So I really want to see it working, but we'll see what he says.
Worst comes to worst, it is a very, very good looking boat.
It is now. Yeah. New day once again. It's Thursday, and it's about 9 o'clock, and we are plugging along with things. Let's take a look at the 212. All done. Looking pretty darn slick. If you really, really look at the bow, you could probably tell that something was up, but you'd really have to, look hard for what this is, and that is just like a really cool sort of entry-level fun boat. This is pretty dang awesome. We did some weathering on the bottom there, and that hides, a little bit of the damage that was in the front. But unless you're about a foot away, you really can't see it, and it turned out really cool. This is going to be going up on the website here later today, so by the time you see this, it'll already be up there. It'll be boat, radio, and the custom carry case, which is down on the floor, but all the information will be in the listing. I did a little bit of work this morning installing the props and the motors on the battle boats. I will say, I don't know what it is about these like Chinese suppliers that are selling like through Amazon and stuff, but I got not only these props, but another sets of props, and they're sold in sets of 2, clockwise and counterclockwise. I ordered like 20 of them, all left-handed, showed up. I ordered these ones from a different supplier, and just enough for 2 boats, and I got 3 lefts and 1 right. Apparently they can't figure this out, so this is a massive pain in the rear end, but hopefully we'll figure something out. Maybe we'll end up having to print our own props at the end of the day. That might be a better solution, to be brutally honest. That's on pause right now until the glands come, which could be later on today. Logan plugging away on Kilo over there. So I think what I'm going to do is get this thing up and listed, and then I am going to start plugging away on some big torpedoes. All right, progress on Seahunts and big torpedoes. So this is the setup. We've got our stern section, goes through waterproof bulkhead, and then we've got all our guts and gizmos. We've got receiver, speed controller, battery eliminator, and a big 3300 milliamp lithium polymer battery pack. I just want to show you how this works. So I've got this set up. I'm actually pretty excited about this. So Seahound, obviously, you've got the main boat that you need to drive, and that's going to be fairly easy. You know, you're going to be diving and turning and throttling, just like you would any other boat. Now, it's a really simple boat. There's no dive planes. There's no other functions other than throttle, dive planes, and rudder and ballast. So 4 channels. But I wanted to make this kind of easy and simple. So you've also got 2 individually controllable torpedoes. That is also going to be done through this transmitter. This is Torpedo 1, which I've dubbed. And the way that this is going to work is you steer it with this little potentiometer, and then you've got the throttle on the side. So it'll be kind of like a trigger. You pull it to go forward and push it to go backwards. I'll show you what this looks like. So I'm going to set this down. We'll grab our assembly here. And we're going to go left and right. And then throttle. I'm super stoked about how smooth that throttle is. This is going to be an absolute rocket. That's the neat thing about these tandem radios. You can pair multiple receivers to it. So each torpedo has its own receiver. It's all talking to the transmitter, and you can control everything from one unit as opposed to having to have 3 individual radios. So another advantage of, you know, the new radio technology over the old low frequency ones. One thing I do want to mention, which is like super frustrating. These are, you know, our standard on-off switches, which we've sold for like forever. I never have a problem with these. Hook this one up, brand new, out of the box, doesn't work. It's like, what have I done to piss off the RC submarine gods? That goes in the garbage. You know, flying subs not working. It's just like, I ordered those props and those aren't coming properly. It's like, this is not my fault. It's not my fault. So at any rate, ordering new switches, I put connector in here so that when I do get the switch, I just basically plug it in between, and it will control the on-off functions of the torpedoes. Just turn it on and off, and you're off to the races. So I'm going to wire up torpedo number 2, get that all working, and then we're going to look at installing everything in the tube body, the torpedo body itself. So we got a new boat in. So is that Type 7 I was telling everyone about. We'll have to see how it weathered the journey. Looks nicely packaged. All right, well, we'll have to dig this out, see what she looks like. So this is what we've got to work with. Look, everything looks like it's in one piece. Deck gun came with it. That's removable, held in with a magnet. And it looks like maybe repair was undertaken here and here. But all in all, that's not bad. Not bad at all. You can see the cylinders in there. So, yeah, holy. Forgot how, like, powerful those magnets were. All in all, not too bad. Looks like this might have shifted around, which is super common in transport. I really do not recommend ever shipping cylinder inside a boat. But, I mean, looks like all our linkages are in good shape. here. I can see up in the front here, there's a little bracket that broke, but this is all super minor stuff. Maybe a weight came loose. Considering it came all the way from the northeast, I don't think this is bad at all. We're gonna just need to wait and get the tower in, and then we'll have a whole boat. The radio's gonna come and we'll pull the cylinder out and see what we're working with. So, heard back from the owner of the Flying Sub. He gave me the go-ahead and swap out the motors, even though this is turning into a little bit of an expensive project for all of the reworks that we're having to do. I think this is going to be a better solution. Now, this is an old 1,100 gallon per hour bilge pump that I had here. I am proposing utilizing these in place of this style, and I think they're going to fit really well. They'll fit just right underneath, tuck them inside there. But what I want to do is bring this out to the pool so I can shove it in the water and see what sort of output this thing blows out of the nozzle in the back. So let's head over to the top secret testing facility. So this is our super high-tech testing rig, a battery, and the pump. We're just going to see what happens. I'm going to submerge this here. Give it some juice and we'll see what happens. That's got some thrust. I can feel that pushing. That's totally pinned itself against the side of the pool there. I think we got a winner. So I just wanted to note, I am not going to put this old nasty pump in the boat. I've just ordered 2 brand new ones off of Amazon. They should be delivered at 4 a.m. tomorrow. So we'll be able to throw that in. Tomorrow morning, you can yank the old pumps out. And then we'll try and figure out how we're going to mount the new pumps in place there and get everything to fit. But we have a game plan. I also ordered some new electronic speed controllers, but I don't think they're going to be here for a few days. So we'll just have to see what our delivery schedule looks like. But in the meantime, still got lots of stuff to work on. It is a brand new day here at the dry docks. It's Friday and it's raining. I don't know if it's supposed to rain all day or not. It's just kind of like disappointing because we had such beautiful weather last couple of days. Probably not going to have to go out to the pool today anyway, unless Logan manages to get his kilo all rigged up and it's ready for testing part 4. But we'll see how that goes. We got lots of other things going on. He's knocking out some really, really cool Disney Nautilus figures right now. Let's see if we can focus on it. There we go. Yeah, super cool. Is that the repainted one or the original one?
This I just repainted. This one used to be gray for Nemo's suit.
Today's focus. So the glands that I ordered for the battle boats were the wrong size. Well, they're the right size, but they're a little big, and I found better ones. And so I ordered those. Those should be in hopefully tomorrow. So by the end of the weekend, I should have all the parts needed to put all of these together. Working on this thing, I've got to go get another receiver that I can pair it up. Got to put the prop on the back, but this is all set up and basically ready to go. So that's pretty exciting. And we'll be putting that all together in the main body and hopefully finishing some more work on that today. Flying Sub, we do have a strategy. We are going with those pumps. We're going to pull the old motors out, and I'd actually be interested once you get them out to retest them and just double check and make sure that it was indeed pulling that massive amount of amperage out there. Because it'd be good to know if we can keep them for another project. Because I don't have enough junk here at the shop already. Got to ship out some cylinders today. We got to run to storage, grab some stuff. Let me show you something I got shipped in last night. So as you saw, every once in a while, and probably more often than I would like, we get things shipped back here to the shop for, repairs or evaluation, and we're perfectly happy with that. Obviously, if this is something that you don't feel that you have the time or talent to address, we're more than happy to do it for you, obviously for a fee. In some situations, though, what gets a little bit frustrating for us at the dry docks is we get shipped over things that don't need repair. They were just perhaps not completely evaluated at the customer's shop. Point in case, there was that dual motor bulkhead that I just showed you guys a few minutes ago. It was working perfectly fine. It was just kind of a knee-jerk reaction as to just looking at it and saying, no, it was not going to work, when it was. So that's a lot of wasted time, energy, and money on both parties' parts. This is another situation where we had a unit sent back, and we're talking specifically about an 82 pitch controller. Customer said it was working intermittently, stops working, so he wants a brand new one. But obviously, before we just like ship out a brand new one, these are $60 a piece. I want to see what's going on with this one. So I've got it plugged into this setup here. I got a servo tester and servo running through the pitch controller. Now, this has been hooked up here now for about 5 minutes, and it seems to be working just fine. I can control it through the pitch controller, the pitch through the pitch controller, and then I can also control it through the servo tester, override it through the servo tester, which is how it's supposed to work. I cycled it through all the various sensitivity settings, and they seem to be working properly in all of those functional settings. So I cannot duplicate this issue that he is talking about. So it's a little poopy. So what I've decided to do, per his request, I'll send him out a new one, but I'm going to have to charge him for shipping, because in my mind, this is not a warranty replacement. This is working perfectly fine. We'll keep this one for a shop build. Seems to be working perfectly fine for that. And obviously, during the install, we can babysit it and make sure it's working. Just want to be fair. You know, a knee-jerk reaction that it's not working is not necessarily always the case. Remote diagnostics is something you can schedule consult time with me through my website, and we can try and walk through issues. But in this particular case, we've got shipping here and back again. That was really for nothing, as far as I'm concerned. Regardless, we'll get him looked after, and we'll get him his new pitch controller, and move on to bigger and better things. All right, you saw us unpacking this, and we got the rest of the parts. I want to show you what we got. Now, I'm going to get this thing listed up here today, and we are so utterly slammed here at the dry docks that I'm going to offer it on an as-is basis for anybody enterprising enough to go through it and make sure that it's all working properly. I have no reason to believe that it's not fully functional and ready to go. Apparently, it was only used once since I built it back in 2016, so it's just kind of been sitting on the shelf. Just need to go through it, make sure it works. For sure, everything that you need is there. Now, if you need us to go through it, happy to do it. It's going to be a significantly higher price because we're taking all our time to do that, and it also is going to push the delivery back months because our build queue is like 20 deep right now. So 2 options, as is or fully done. But before I go ahead and do that, let's take a quick tour of the boat. So I built this back in 2016 for this gentleman, and it has a lot of upgrades over what a standard kit would. It's got full set of LED lighting, your navigation lights, your stern conning tower lights, stern deck lights. It's also got a full sound system. And I forgot I had included this, but these are all the different sounds that it has built into it, including sonar pings, horns, the big gun firing, dive alarms, air raid sirens, Morse code, just tons of different sounds that you can cycle through using your transmitter. You can see that's on channel 5 there, which is pretty darn cool. This is a hybrid customized cylinder based off of like a Caswell or Dini miniatures cylinder, custom ballast tank. and battery compartment with a custom forward tube there, or end cap there. Works really good. I'll have the video in the product listing showing the original overview and maiden voyage of this boat. It works really good. Also, by the way, the torpedo shutters are linked up, so you can actually open and close them from the inside. Now, I think the linkage is a little jammed up in there right now, so I can't show you, but it certainly does do that. Magnetic deck, you just lift it up, comes right off, no screws or anything. Magnetic closures for all the rigging. Works really, really good. One thing that bugs me, and this is what comes from ARC Model, is they were pressured by people who would prefer to forget about our history, the Nazi symbol in there. That is something easily put in with a pen. So I would do it if it was my boat, but I'm not going to worry about it myself unless somebody asks me to do it. Brass prop upgrade too, by the way. Just a beautiful boat. You know, hell, for the price I'm asking, it would actually just make a gorgeous display model. You know, fully weathered. It's got just a hint of a scum line on the sides there. I would be proud to put this, you know, in my study or office. It's gonna go to a good home. I'm excited for it. So watch for this to end up on the website. Probably by the time you view this update video, it'll be live on the website. Take a look. Don't hesitate. They'll go fast. Everybody loves a good Type 7. And on the topic of Type 7s, I got one more kind of surprise to share with you. I recently came across a super unique boat, and you're going to see some pictures pop up here. 80-inch custom built plank on frame German Type 7 submarine, full RC control, scratch built by this individual up in Pennsylvania. The gentleman who built it unfortunately passed away about 10 years ago. So it was built in the 1990s. So it is using dry hull technology, which was super common back then. Apparently, when it was put into storage on a shelf for display, it was fully functional. It'll require going through, but again, no reason to believe that with a little TLC, you wouldn't be able to get this thing back in the water. Now, I've secured it. It's going to be my boat. I'm going to be picking it up in about a month, having it back here. So if you are interested, if you like these pictures, let me know. Maybe we can put a deposit down. You'll have first crack at it after I get a chance to take a look at it and give you an honest evaluation in terms of the condition. But super cool boat. And again, hell for the price. An 80-inch long display for office or living room. Pretty darn cool. Back at the top secret test facility with the brand new 1100 GPM pumps. Now, these are supposed to be rated at 3.2 amps, which is significantly better than 30 amps for those old ones. So I'm just going to test it because I want to make sure. And these are not the brand name rule ones. These are like a off-brand, but they should work just as well. .6 amps. That's a lot of thrust. And just imagine two of these propelling that flying sub through the water. I mean, that's shooting a good 3 feet. I think we got a winner. All right, I've extracted the old motors. It looks to me like these impellers were scratch built, and this is just cast. It's a little rough. It certainly doesn't look like it was commercially manufactured, which could be why it was so brittle. You know, if it was commercial, it'd be made out of like nylon or something really durable like this, but this was just cast. But regardless, I got the other one hooked up here. I want to retest the dry amps. This is 2.8 amps, which is, it was reading, what did I say, 6.5. So that's about right for the two together. But let's go outside and see what this thing does when it's pumping water. All right, we are back out in the rain, and we're going to test the one functional motor, if I can one-hand this, and see what it does for current draw. $23 amps. Oh yeah, that's getting hot. These wires are almost melting. That is super interesting. It leads me to believe that this was perhaps, I think this was custom built, but I think that it was probably not engineered properly. So the flow around these fins may not be sufficient. They could be choking down here. So that is drawing a massive amount of current, trying to force all that water through the passages. So it's interesting, but 24 amps per motor, you know, a 50 or 60 amp current draw. It's no wonder things were blowing up. These are still good motors. I'm going to see if I can talk the owner into letting me keep them, or I can buy them off, because I think these would work really well for a drive motor for a submarine. Pop the end off and connect it to your propeller. This is all waterproof and everything, so maybe some silver lining out of it. This might be good in my big 66-inch Nautilus.
So, strategy with the flying sub. We've got it figured out, and I'm pretty excited at the way that I think it'll all get engineered and work at the end of the day. Let's take a closer look. So what we've got going on here, we've got our pumps, and you can see I removed the filter cage from the end. There used to be some big bulkheads in here that the old motors were mounted to. I removed those and they snapped out fairly nicely. These new motors are going to fit perfectly, just vertically like this. Lots of intake room on the top for water to come in. And I think if I just cant these just a little bit, we've got a direct shot back this way to the nozzles for the discharge. Now all I've got to do, and I've already designed it, is make a little adapter that'll go from this 30 mil outside diameter to this one, which is 22. So we're gonna have a big rubber hose that just basically goes straight. No turns, no corners, just nice and simple, straight back and then blowing out the back. This is going to throttle down the flow a little bit, so it is going to increase the current draw slightly, but it'll increase the velocity of the water jetting out the back. So we'll have, you know, more pressure and the same amount of flow. So pretty stoked about how this is all kind of turning out. We still got lots of room on the inside for the watertight box. We have a strategy, just need the parts. They're ordered, should be here this weekend if things go well.
So, end of the day, and we're going to wrap it up here on Friday so I can make this video that you're watching here and make the listing for the U-boat and all that other fun stuff. Pretty productive week,
Yeah.
I'd say. A little less frustrating than last week. Let's quickly recap where we're at and what we're going to be doing next week.
Well, with Kilo, I think the biggest bit of progress we made is we got its surface trim looking really nice, and the next step was the submerged trim and also the stabilization. So for stabilization, we've got weights along the bottom, added some weights along the front here, jammed a good bit down into the sail. So hopefully next time we stick it in the water, it should all be nice. A couple other things I did while I was waiting on that to go is waterproof the battery, because you can't be too safe. Double checked my ballast, because my ballast servo wasn't going, but that was just because my battery was dead, so that should all be nice and simple. And got my antenna going. So hopefully this should fix my issues with glitchiness, stabilization, waterproofing, functional ballast, so.
Yeah, that antenna was like just like 8 inches long or something, wasn't it?
It was like 6, and it had a washer welded to the outside of it.
Yeah, so That's probably why it was not behaving properly. It didn't have a proper antenna. Well, you're going to have to put that waterproof tube on the end of it too.
Yep.
So that's cool. Flying sub, we're waiting on some rubber hose. And that's it. Rubber hose. And then we get the new things installed and the speed controller, which should be here tomorrow, hopefully. Battle boats, waiting on the glands, waiting some props. So we got that going on. We started cracking into the 212. What a cool boat. This is like authentic weathering. I don't know if you can see it here, but it's like weathering due to weathering, not so much the paint job, which is museum quality. It's beautiful. We're hooking it up with a brand new Horus 900 megahertz radio system. And we were going to try and get that all hooked up, but the battery was utterly and completely dead. So we need to charge that up before we can do anything. So it looks like a Monday project for that. But yeah, these are super fun boats, by the way. They work really well and super maneuverable and quick, really precise ballast in it too. So I have to try and remember how everything all goes together. I got these like random things. I think this is connected to the pressure sensor, but I'm not entirely sure what it plugs into. There's like random ports on the ballast board, all sorts of fun stuff. So yeah, that will wrap it up. I'm going to leave you with a couple of things. First off, SUBFEST 2024 is at go. By the time you watch this, the page for it should be, if it's not already up, close to being up on my website. Under Events 2024, we'll get the registration all done today, so you guys can start pre-registering for the event. If you want to take a look at what 2023 looked like, I'll post a video, link to the video for the highlights for 2023 right here. And we figured since Logan was working on his kilo, we'll put that video for Dave Merriman's kilo that we had a little while ago. Anything else?
I think that's everything.
That's it. On behalf of myself, Bob Martin, the RCSubGuy, and
Logan,
have a great weekend, and we'll catch you next time.